This is Robert Forsch with the Stationary Level Earth. I wanted to go ahead and show you the sun approaching our area, and it's going to probably be pretty foggy on the way in, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go live and show you that. As far as stationary and level, where in the world could a wind chime hang anywhere upside down? Only in the imagination, folks. That's where it happens. That's where the globe exists. It's a global deception. If you're connected with some watchmen on the wall that are outing the globalists and they're not exposing the global deception, then they're in on it, whether they realize it or not. That's one of the dynamics, is that the deceived individual does not know that they are in fact deceived. So that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm outing this whole corrupt system. As best I can tell, I'm not leaving anybody out. Oops, there, that's no good. That's better. Yes. I'm activating my defroster back there. What it's going to do is heat up those little metal strips in the glass and then cause the evaporation. The whole water cycle of the world is contingent on temperature differentials, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms: rain, snow, sleet, fog, hail. Apparently Mexico got 5 feet of hail. Yeah, that's not normal. And then in the book of Revelation, God's word talks about 100-pound hailstones that will be falling. Could that be ice cracking off of the firmament? I believe that's definitely a possibility. Could very well be. So I wanted to show you where we live is about 10 feet above sea level. It's real close to the height of the ocean. And because there's virtually no air movement right now, that's indicating that, of course, we're not spinning over 1,038 miles an hour at the equator. That's absurd. And yet a lot of people will believe that. So even though we may not be able to affect change in some of what's going on around us, we can affect change in what's happening right in our little area, like where I live, in my body, what I allow in my body, on my body. It's actually not even mine. I was bought with a price that I couldn't pay. Just as I suspected, this wall of fog that I'm driving into, because we're at a coastal region. This is the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area, where we're expecting 20 million guests. This year, we're more than halfway through, approaching the 4th of July weekend. What you're looking at is what I'm seeing as well. It's no trickery of any kind. The water is warmer than the air. That's why we're getting the condensation, the fog. Also, one of the questions that I'll ask people, do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Well, that depends. It depends on the temperature. That temperature differential changes the volume and density of water. So the weight changes, the weight and the density changes with a particular specified amount. I'll use a gallon because it's a common number to think about. What was happening was I had my gallon jugs of water on the roof of the car. Water was coming out. Even though they were full, it was coming out over the top. Where was that water coming from? Well, it was expanding. The water was expanding and creating more volume at a warmer temperature. So in the ocean, ankles will be cooler than the knees if the water is not being moved around a lot. But that's just the way it is. Tidal pools and that, it's more noticeable. When I say stationary level Earth, to be clear, there would be no level anywhere on an Earth that was moving in all the directions and gyrations that we're told that it is. Just to be clear, no level anywhere on a moving, spinning, wobbling, and gyrating oblate spheroid. Don't care how many letters a person has around their names, trophy partner or bling in their Monopoly money bank account, doesn't matter. There's the truth and then there's everything else. So I do believe I'm not exactly sure. I may drive up to the top of the parking ramp, or I may pull into the coastal preserve. It depends on how it looks. Right now I'm approaching we, as we drive together, are approaching the Intracoastal Waterway. This would be the exit to get on Highway 17 to go to Wilmington, so you know about where we are. Out in the ocean, you can see where the Intracoastal Waterway meets North and South Carolina. That's what we're going to be driving over. And it's tidal affected too. Now, at sunrise today, at moonrise today, I should say, we've got a 1% moon. We won't see that. And then at moonset, it's supposed to be 0. Where'd it go? Where's the moon? So that hazy flat spot in the middle of the shot is the waterway. The fact that water seeks level is a powerful evidence of the physics and properties of water. It's relaxed, it fills its container no matter how I tip a container or you do. You can test it with your own evidence. You can take a jug like that and tip it, and it'll line up with the horizon no matter which direction it's turned. It's just the way it is. Stationary as in not moving at all, not even a little bit. And that's one of the proclamations of the Bible, is that the earth doesn't move. Not in just one cherry-picked verse, it's throughout Scripture. There's evidence of that. In the gospel account of Luke, Jesus spoke at a level place. As I mentioned, there would be no level anywhere if we were moving. Now I uncovered the billiard table at home. I put a new felt on it in winter. I finally pulled the Select Comfort bed off of it. I think I'm going to keep it off of it, and I may show you when I get home, or I may do another broadcast. I've got some performance cue sticks to play with, a brand new set of balls. Now, when I met a lady that played billiards, it was interesting. She was really good. I said, these balls aren't even from the same family. They were on the table at Fat Harold's, or Fat Harold's, they call it. It's in North Myrtle Beach. And I said, they're very likely not even the same weight. That could have a a considerable effect on the game of pool. She said, you know, you're right. I've never even thought about it like that. And it's very true. The weight of the billiard balls affects how they operate. It's all actual science, testable, repeatable observations. On one of my videos, you can see it, the thumbnail is a billiard table and there's mirrors on it. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a plate glass mirror cut to fit on top of the billiard table. I may do that. However, I can put a big mirror on there if I want to. And the point of that holds true. The pool table, the billiard table is very flat, but it's also very level. And when they set up a table, you can even look at it on how to level a billiard table. A lot of them will use a machinist level. Accurate to within a thickness of a human hair. Interesting. And to calibrate a laser level in creating like skyscrapers and that, a liquid level will be used. It's not actually water because a carpenter level, a spirit level doesn't freeze. It's a liquid level though. In the middle of the view, we've got a water tower way at the end. Can't see it through the iPhone, but there's a water tower on the left. You can see that, and it's more than a water tower. It's a cell tower too, with a backup diesel generator and all kinds of electronics there to help carry the signals around the world. Makes a difference. Makes a big difference. Because it's so calm, I believe I'm going to pull into the coastal preserve, and there should be some spectacular reflections on the water, which is a sea level liquid mirror, because the water in the coastal preserve is connected to the open ocean through the inlet, comes around the end of the Cherry Grove Point, where I've done a lot of photography and videography. One of the reasons why I encourage people to hashtag my name is because it crosses over all the social media platforms. I'm Robert J. Forsch on Instagram. I'm still working out some of the details on the whole Instagram thing. Once again, the flat level water in the middle of the view, the little puddles, easy to see them with the contrasts. And what I have done, okay, let me see. Okay, now I've activated the P1000 recording as well, so I can zoom in. We've got a gentle breeze coming from the ocean right now. That is the Prince Resort, and the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier is directly in front of it. The reflections of the building are a bit obscured because of the airflow that we can see ripples on the water. Yesterday I had a couple of recordings that I did from the parking ramp. I'll show you right where I was. I'm going to zoom in on it with the P1000. So that's where I was, right in that opening there next to those louvers coming out. I went ahead and decided to go without microphones too. I've been having trouble with my sound, when I hold the camera away from me and I put myself in front of the camera, the sound doesn't work so good. So when the sun pops through, when it moves towards us, it's going to burn through the moisture, and then we're going to see it from this vantage point. So if you're watching this and all of a sudden you see the lens of the P1000 zoom out, or I'm zooming in on it, you'll see it down below there, then you know you're watching the iPhone 10 recording / broadcast. All of the symmetry on the puddles, especially when they're shallow like this, it's all perfect. And as I've talked about on some of my other broadcasts, there's a dead end with no turnaround. And that's also a metaphor, and I believe a reality of when we can no longer fog a mirror, when we can no more register a pulse, where will we spend for eternity and why? Well, I believe all God's children will absolutely be born of His Spirit at some point in the human experience. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. The reason that this all matters is the truth matters. So every video I make, every hashtag I put out there, link that I supply is meant to direct people to the cross of Christ. The need to be born again, new life in Christ. That's why I do this. So when I started recording earlier like this, one of the things that it highlights is how small and local the sun is. So I will probably add local sun to this. And now because the wind is coming from the southwest there, I don't get as much of a wind break where I would normally be. I'll just go a little bit further over this way, and I'll have an adequate wind break because of that. Underneath the water here is pretty rugged. There's clam beds. The tide is coming in. I can see that, and the wind is coming in from the same direction. So down in the middle of the view is the point in Cherry Grove where the ocean fills this area up. I made another post and hashtag of Elon Musk lying. Elon Musk lies. Talking about selling your home and moving to Mars. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. So I'm outing him. I'm outing that corrupt space / science fiction that it is. It's about a 3 to 5 mile an hour wind right now. Got other video with those buildings clearly visible. We can see a matte finish of them right now because of all the ripples. Notice how the light shoots across the water there. It'll do it again and again. It's like a laser. That one was a little different because of the height of the lights. And one of the reasons why we can't see Europe from here, even with a powerful telescope, is there's too much moisture and particulate in the air. So the sun is appearing here, moving over the stationary Earth, and will set over there. It's going to set in the northwest. It's rising, approaching from the northeast. You can check out the Tides Near Me app and see where the sun and the moon appear and vanish at a given location, if you care to. And then there's other tools that you can evaluate when the sun rises and sets are, as they're called. Along with that, though, keep in mind that, like for example, I can only confirm the accuracy of what I see here, what I observe here. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody to do your own investigation. Check this out if you care to. See what you can find. So it's not just my my observations, it's yours. What do you see? What do you observe? Because seeing is believing. What? What do we see and what do we believe about what we see? When we go to a movie and it's entertainment, it's still programming. When we watch the news, it's still programming. It's all programming. Is it true? Is it deceptive? Is it real or is it fantasy? How will you know? Well, I would say one of the things that's obvious is water exposes the global lie. I've been saying it for years. Another thing that I say quite a bit is reality exposes the global lie. I've got a page called that. Reality exposes the global lie. You can hashtag it if you want. Check it out. See, the water is all relaxed and it's a liquid mirror. The tide is coming in and it's gently moving forward. It'll just keep on doing it. The sun rises, the sun appearing here at this location is getting later. Every day, a little bit. Some days a minute, some days seconds. We don't know exactly the distance the sun is away from us. I know it moves closer and gets us warmer and gives us more light. I'm going to make a pan around and show you because it's just about to break the plane. And I wanted to show you what it looks like right now before it does that. And here we go. So when NASA, the tip of the sphere of influence and deception, is telling us distance and temperature of the sun, they're making it up. Apparently they lost all the telemetry data, all the videotapes, and yeah, of all the moon landing numbers. Huh, that's strange. You'd think that'd be pretty important. It is. They're lying. I hashtag NASA lies a lot, because they do. So if you're an atheist and you're believing God isn't real because NASA says so, in a roundabout way, they don't give God the credit for any of this. Although they read the Bible from supposedly the rocket. Where that rocket was, who knows exactly. Very likely Stanley Kubrick involved in the moon landing hoax videos. How about that? Our tax dollars hard at work, but it's not just ours, it's the whole world is paying for it with science fiction presented as reality by the space programs of the world. So Elon Musk lies. Yeah, he's kind of a likable sort of fella. However, artificial intelligence lies. I'm telling on it as well. It's not a him or a her. I believe it's an integral part of the beast system, the mark of the beast system referred to in the book of Revelation. So I'm going to make my stickers available. If you want any, you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope or take a picture of it. Put it on your phone, send it to somebody. Put it in a hyperlink if you want. A lot of the video content that I have and posts that I have would be a reflection of a collaborative effort of people all around the world that are not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth, like me. So before the end of the broadcast, I'll give you my address so you can send a self-addressed stamped envelope if you like, if you care to. So what I'm going to show as I walk on over is just how the view of the reflection and that follows the camera, the eyes of the observers, which all of us are. Job 37 proclaims that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. That certainly is what I've observed many times. That's why if you hashtag local sun, you'll see a variety of videos that include that in the title. At the top of my liked video playlist is one of the best occurrences of that as well. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Excellent, thanks. What a beautiful sunrise, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
If you want to see some of it zoomed in, I've got it on my YouTube channel. Let me just grab a sticker for you. Here's a couple of them.
Sweet.
Oh, you're welcome. Where are y'all from?
Asheboro, North Carolina.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. I've got a live broadcast you're on right now. Hey, thank you. So what I wanted to do is show you just how moving from right over there to right over here, how it changes the whole perspective. And as I mentioned earlier, I shot it yesterday from the parking ramp up there. Just going to set this down for a moment. And what I wanted to show you is actually my address and phone number. 169 Cloverleaf Drive, Longs, South Carolina 29568. And if you want to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope and how many stickers you would like, there you go. There's my data. You can hashtag my name, give me a call anytime. Whoa, that'd be just fine. We've got a lot of interesting content. Once again, I found another way to get myself put in Facebook jail. So I can't share or comment in groups until about an hour and a half from now. I believe it was 7:58 or so. So stationary level Earth, kind of interesting, isn't it? There would be no level if we were moving. Plus that whole ridiculous assertion that people can live upside down in relationship to one another. That's not even possible. So as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we have a 1% moon at moonrise and 0 at moonset. And then the sun is rising in the northeast and setting in the northwest, respectively, in the middle of the views. coming up in the northeast, setting in the northwest. Obviously showing that there's a different movement than NASA tells us. The other thing is as I showed earlier, the moon is coming up about in the middle of the view and running along the coast and setting over Myrtle Beach from this vantage point, clearly indicating two separate motions. And you can check it out and crunch the numbers if you want to. You can see that where the sun and the moon appear and vanish on the horizon, and their duration of visibility with one another is totally exposing the heliocentric or globe deception, the global lie. For about 2.5 years, I used the P1 or 900. I'm sorry, and then for almost a year now, I've had the P1000. Coming up on a year this fall, and I've only used the 900 a few times since I got the P1000. It's so much more proficient, a better piece of equipment to do what I do. I do have a polarized lens on the camera, yet it keeps the colors pretty vibrant and accurate to what I'm looking at. Just removes the glare. So one of the other practical things is I like to put the stickers on my car in a strategic spot. People can see it, take a picture of it, and send it to anybody they care to. Because my car is labeled up, sometimes people will go there. Hey, today I just reached 1,500 subscribers. Thank you all so much. You might want to go ahead and get that notification bell activated, and keep in mind that people are getting disconnected from channels because it's artificial intelligence is doing it. What I've talked about, and it holds true, is that rather than think of Facebook as Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk as Tesla and SpaceX and whatever figureheads there are for the representatives of the New World Order, the tracking, tracing, data basing, and threat assessing of all humanity. Just keep in mind that artificial intelligence has been self-aware for a long time, and I've got documentaries that talk about it, including autonomous weapons. And as scary as that is, if we were to have had an interruption in electrical generation and distribution when people had 100 below wind chill, they would have been dead in a few days, probably, a lot of them. So we are told about like Kim Jong-un and EMP weapons, that type of thing. Wherever there would be an interruption in the power supply, there would be difficulties with logistics and distribution of goods and services. So Y2K may have just been a reason to integrate a whole bunch of technology that AI could operate remotely without the willing human beings to throw a switch or cut the power off. It can do it itself. How about that? More like the Terminator, like Hal on 2001, A Space Odyssey. So on some of the more recent videos that I've shared, they are making fun of a lot of the conspiracies, yet there is actual conspiracies integrated into their somewhat humorous exposing or making fun of it. So, just to be clear, you're going to be required to investigate yourself and for what you believe. I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. Feel free to reach out anytime. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Please hashtag my name and send a powerful message to the censorship going on the internet. Thank you much. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope if you'd like stickers.